I've always hated clowns. Not in the, oh, they're creepy kind of way people laugh about at parties. I mean a real bone-deep fear, the kind that makes your chest tighten and your stomach drop when you see one, even on TV. People used to make fun of me for it. My friends would tag me in clown pictures or send me videos just to watch me squirm, but I never laughed, because deep down, I think I always knew something was wrong with them. And after last October, I know I was right. I know clowns don't belong at circuses or kids' parties. They belong in the dark, and if you see one at night, you should run. I grew up in Maple Ridge, Pennsylvania, a town so small you could drive straight through it in 5 minutes. Everyone knew everyone, and secrets never stayed hidden for long. We didn't have much crime, no big scandals. The weirdest thing that ever happened was back in 2016, when people around the country started seeing clowns on the side of the road. You probably remember hearing about that. People in full clown costumes, just standing in the woods, waving at cars. Most of us thought it was fake, or just kids messing around. But then the stories started happening closer to home. At first, I brushed them off. But then, one night in early October, I came home from work to find something waiting for me. A balloon. It was tied to the railing of my porch. Bright red, bobbing gently in the night air. I stood there for a long time, just staring at it. My stomach churned. It was too perfect, too deliberate. I wanted to believe it was a joke. Maybe some kids in the neighborhood thought they were funny, but none of the neighbors admitted to it. That balloon was just the beginning. After that night, I started paying more attention to the stories floating around Maple Ridge. There was Marcus, who swore he was followed home from a Halloween party by a clown that waved at him from 30 feet away before disappearing into thin air. When he got home, there was a balloon tied to his front gate. Then there was Danny, who worked the closing shift at the movie theater. She said she saw a clown standing under the flickering streetlight in the parking lot, holding a balloon with her name scrawled across it in black marker. The next morning, the same balloon was tied to the theater door, and Josh, the guy who saw a crouching clown reflected in the glass of the Route 7 gas station. When he got in his car, there was a balloon tied to his side mirror. I told myself these were just stories, exaggerations, urban legends people passed around to freak each other out. But after I found that balloon on my porch, I wasn't so sure. The night that everything truly began, I was driving home from a late shift. It was close to 2 in the morning and the roads were empty. Maple Ridge gets quiet after dark. Just crickets and the occasional truck roaring down the highway. That's when I saw him. At first, I thought it was someone with car trouble, a figure standing on the shoulder of the road just outside the glow of my headlights. I slowed down a little, ready to stop and help. Then the light hit him. It was a clown. He wasn't waving for help. He wasn't moving at all. Just standing perfectly still, facing traffic. His outfit wasn't colorful like a circus clown's. It was faded, dirty, hanging loose off his frame. His wig looked shredded, sticking out in tufts. The paint on his face was smeared and cracked like it had been on for days, and in his hand, he held a balloon. I pressed the gas, heart hammering, and blew past him. I couldn't stop myself from checking the rearview mirror. He was standing in the middle of the road now, directly under the streetlight, turned to face me as I sped away. I barely slept that night. I told myself it had to be someone messing around, maybe even one of my friends pulling a prank. But then the next night, it happened again. Different road, different streetlight, same clown, same balloon. Each time I tried to tell myself it was a coincidence, but it wasn't. I started noticing small things, shadows moving at the edge of my vision, footsteps behind me when I was alone. Every time I went outside, I felt eyes on me. The balloons started appearing in more aggressive ways. One was left tied to my mailbox. Another was wedged between the front tire and the curb. One morning I found a balloon inside my garage, just floating there, untouched. I didn't even know how it had gotten in. One night, around 3 in the morning, my phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. At first there was nothing, just silence. Then, faintly, I heard it, a squeak, like someone rubbing their hand along the surface of a balloon. I hung up immediately. The phone rang again. Same number. I didn't answer, but the voicemail that came through made my blood run cold. It was breathing, heavy, raspy breathing, and then a laugh, high-pitched, childlike, but it cracked in the middle, breaking into something deeper, something wrong. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't leave the house without looking over my shoulder every few seconds. Sometimes in the quiet of the night, I'd hear it. The faint squeak of rubber against wood, like someone dragging a balloon across the porch. The night it all came to a head, I was home alone. I had locked every door, every window, every light was on. I sat in the living room with a baseball bat across my lap, staring at the front door, too afraid to even blink. That's when I saw it, a figure standing under the streetlight across the street, just outside my window. My stomach dropped. The clown was there, same tattered suit, same smeared makeup, same red balloon. I pressed myself against the wall, barely breathing. Then I heard it, a soft knock at the door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. My hand shook so badly I could barely lift the bat. I couldn't run, I couldn't think. All I could do was wait. The knocks continued, then stopped. Silence. I thought maybe it had left. Then came the squeak. The soft, torturous squeak of a balloon brushing against something, and the faint sound of footsteps moving away like it was circling the house. I stayed awake all night, too terrified to move. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow looked alive. When the sun finally rose, I ran out to the driveway. Empty. Nothing there. The street was quiet. Too quiet. But on the doormat, tied neatly in a bow, was a red balloon. I called the police. They didn't believe me. No forced entry, no signs of anyone breaking in. They said it was probably a prank. Kids, local teenagers trying to scare someone. But I knew better, because the clown didn't need to break in. He didn't need to touch me. He was patient, watching, waiting. And every time I turned my back, he got closer. Even now, months later, I still hear the faint squeak. Sometimes I wake in the middle of the night and see a shadow outside the window. Sometimes there's a balloon lying in the hallway where I swear I left nothing the night before. People think clowns are harmless, funny, silly, but they aren't. They watch, they wait. And if you ever see one standing on the side of the road in the middle of the night, don't slow down, don't look back, and whatever you do, don't stop. Because if you do, you might not make it home.